Hello and welcome back. In today's video, I am interested in looking into some of the more prominent still standing Roman buildings around the world and some of the history behind them, why they were built, who they were built by, and when were they built. Firstly, I'd like to talk about La Maison Carrée, or in English, the Square House, from Franz Nimes. La Maison Carrée was built around 12 BC by Marcus Agrippa, the longtime trusted friend of the Emperor Augustus. Agrippa was an incredibly prominent Roman, as he was the general that won Augustus his place on the throne militarily. Not to discredit the incredible political skill that was displayed by Augustus to obtain his position, however, it would not have been possible without the military campaigns of Agrippa. Some years after the construction of La Maison Carrée, the building was dedicated in honor of Agrippa's two sons, Gaius Caesar and Lucius Caesar, the boys that would later be adopted by Augustus on the death of their father. This dedication of different structures during the Roman Empire by their patrons was something relatively common. The structure itself is described as being one of the world's best preserved Roman buildings. The exterior is lined by large Corinthian columns which stand atop a porch that is preceded by stairs. The building has a single front entrance that leads into a large windowless room known as a cella. A relatively simple design, but for the age was very impressive. La Maison Carrée, like many other still standing Roman structures, was turned into a church, thus securing its future in an increasingly anti-pagan society. However, the building's role within Nimes changed multiple times, with perhaps the strangest being its conversion into a stables. In this day and age, the site is used as a tourist attraction and museum. The beauty of the structure can be viewed inside and out through guided tours or general entry. Next, I want to talk about the world-famous Pantheon. The original Pantheon was built in 27 BC in Rome, again by Marcus Agrippa. The building, however, was severely damaged in a fire in 80 AD, and then completely destroyed in another fire in 110 AD. Because of this, the structure was completely rebuilt under the rule of Hadrian in 126 AD, adding some additional features to the building. The structure was made as an example of something for the Roman masses to be proud of. The building sports an impressive 142 feet in diameter round dome that at the time of its construction is speculated to have been the largest ever created. To be an ordinary Roman citizen in 126 AD and seeing a structure like that must have been absolutely breathtaking. The practical purpose of the original Pantheon is a subject that is open to intense debate. The structure's name alludes to it perhaps being a temple in honor of all of the Roman gods, but this is debated due to some ancient Roman sources pointing to the structure as being a sort of tribute to the honor of Augustus. The Pantheon, like La Maison Carrée, can chalk its incredible preservation up to the fact that it was turned into a church. This occurred in 609 AD when Emperor Phocas gave the Pantheon to the Catholics. The Pantheon still operates as a church but is frequented by tourists all year round. Next up is Sabratha, which is in Libya. Sabratha was originally a port city that was controlled by the Berber population who were native to the area. However, in around 500 BC, the area became a Carthaginian colony known as Sabatan. After the conclusion of the Second Punic War in 202 BC, the colony was inhabited by the short-lived Numidian kingdom under Massinissa and his grandson Jugurtha, until the land was invaded and conquered by the Romans in around 105 BC. During the next couple of centuries, the area was Romanized, with many buildings being erected. In my opinion, the most remarkable of all of these being built was that of the Sabratha Theatre, which is claimed by many to be the most intact Roman theatre in the world. Much of the Roman backdrop is still standing, including the 3 stories of intricate Corinthian columns. Even the so-called green rooms where the actors would stay before and after they were performing have survived. Unfortunately, however, the reason the Sabratha Theatre appears to be so intact is because of a 1930s Italian archaeological effort to reconstruct the building. A large percentage of the materials used to rebuild the theatre are not original or period accurate. Sabratha in the past may have been an interesting tourist attraction, however today it is highly recommended that travellers steer clear of it due to the ongoing unrest in Libya. Our final Roman building is the famous Roman bathhouse that sits in Bath, England. The bathhouse was built around 70 BC under the rule of Vespasian. The site was developed in the at the time Roman settlement of Aquae Solis, which was built up near a temple. The Roman baths themselves were being built and expanded upon over the course of centuries, with some reworking being done in the hot springs as late as the early Middle Ages. After the Roman exit of Britain in the 5th century AD, the patronage of the bathhouse had died down to an extent that after only a century the building was in ruins. The site is recognised as one of the best preserved Roman bathhouses in the world, and because of this is visited by over 1 million tourists a year. The hot springs beneath the bathhouse to this day still produce water that can get up to 46 degrees Celsius. Those that make the trek to Somerset to see the Roman bathhouse there would be treated by not only a beautiful ancient site, but also a museum which houses many artifacts not only from the bathhouse, but also from the larger town of Aquae Solis. To wrap up this video, I would like to thank those that watched all the way to the end. I hope you learned something new about the wider Roman Empire and perhaps gained some insight into some of their still standing architectural marvels.